Hi, in the previous section, we saw two environments provided by Python, REPL and script processor. In this section, we are going to see the syntax of the Python code that we should be using when you are using either REPL or a script processor. So there are basically three syntaxes, two of them are compulsory and one optional. Hence, we can say that there are actually only two syntax available, indentation, colon. Semicolon is optional. Indentation is basically the number of spaces. Generally, it's 4 spaces, so we can use a tab as well. So indentation is used to delimit a block or basically the section of the code or group of lines of code which you want to get executed when that particular block should be executed. Next syntax is the colon. So whenever you are defining a block, you actually give a header or basically a name of that block, and that header should end on a colon, which defines start of the block. And on the next line onwards, you write the number of lines of code which should be part of that block. And the last syntax is a semicolon, which is nothing but just the indicating an end of the file, end of the line. So there are two main parts of the syntax over here, indentation and colon. Now let's see how to use that in practical usage. So in this section of the code, you can see that I have written a file, named it as syntax and added an extension .py. So this is a syntax.py file which I have defined a syntax of the Python code that we just saw. So the first line that says is just a print statement, which is nothing but a normal print statement which is going to print Python syntax example. Now if you see here, it starts exactly at the extreme left. Then I have put one space, one extra line, and then I wrote a if condition. Now what is this if condition? That we will see later on. But if you see here, I have defined this if as a block and I have gave a true as a condition here. And then that block definition or header ended with colon, and after that I have again a print statement which says indented block. But if you see here, there is an indentation, basically the number of spaces. So the number of spaces here is 4, so I'm maintaining my number of spaces as 4 for each indentation. Once that block of code ends, I have another block which has a header as else and then colon. Again, inside that block, I have one indentation, which is nothing but again 4 spaces, and after that I have another print statements. After this block ends, I put an extra line and then again I have a print statement. Now let's see how this works. Right now, just ignore the what is present and how it works. That we will see later on when we see those sections. So the program that we just wrote has a Python code, right? Now we are going to execute that code using a command prompt. So how do we use a command prompt? So if you see here, I have opened a command prompt. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I specify Python, then write syntax.py and execute it. See, it has executed that Python code, and although we provided total 4 print statements, it has printed only 3. Now why that happened, that I will explain later on. Right now just ignore it, but just remember how I have structured my code with those indentation and the colon. That is, so this is what I wanted to talk about, the syntax of the Python code. So I hope that you liked the introductory part. If you have any doubt, you can always reach out to me in the comments below. Thank you.